Hello and welcome to the neurodivergent normal. I am Photon John, joined by my co-host Danny WX. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing well, Photon John. How are you?
Pretty good. I think that's the first time we've called each other our podcast stage names.
Yeah, our full podcast stage names.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So-
Normally I just call you Wooks.
Yeah. Whatever nickname you can think of at the time, that's fine
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good. I just heard a little light rain outside my window. It seems to have stopped now, but I was hoping that would persist because I was hoping it would be a little bit of an ambient soundscape kind of thing, like one of those relaxation CDs you used to be able to buy from the $2 store in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh wow. I remember you'd go into National Geographic and they'd always have those playing.
Yeah.
In the National Geographic stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I've had an interesting few weeks. I have a new band. We're called Razor Nun, which I guess is meant to be a juxtaposition, like tough love or reformed pacifist.
Yeah.
And we said yes to gigs without a full lineup or finished songs, just because it had been a couple of years trying to pull something together. I thought, all right, I just need a goal. And I think we've done it, although we do feel a bit like a soapbox car with no brakes going down the hill at the moment, hurtling towards the first gig. But with that, plus the podcast, plus the business, it's been a lesson in managing my time and avoiding burnout. So I've had to be living a little more consciously of that. But also a month off alcohol has helped while I've been getting all this new stuff off the ground. I'm not the most productive person in the world when I can have a beer after a hard day's work. So sort of managing that.
Yeah,
how's life stuff for
definitely. Life stuff. Life stuff for me is pretty good at the moment. It's pretty decent. I've been working on children's books. I've got some children's book ideas. I've been exploring. I did a Muay Thai boxing class this morning, and yeah, just good. I'm actually excited for because I think the topic of this week's episode is travel, which is an interesting topic for me. I've done a little bit of traveling, and the first time I traveled abroad several years ago, I was going through a phase in my life where I decided it was time to reinvent myself again, and I decided to reinvent myself as this kind of free-spirited sort of nature-loving, living in the moment person who was kind of like Walter Mitty meets Jack Kerouac. And I decided that part of that was traveling on a budget and staying in hostels and things. And my first trip abroad, I stayed in a hostel for one night, and it wasn't for me. I can't be bunkering down in a room with 4 or 5 other people. I just I need a place to myself where I can lock the door.
Yeah, I imagine aside from that being a bit of an age thing as well,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to be doing it. But also as a neurodivergent person, that would be hell, I can imagine.
Yeah.
In a room with strangers sleeping at night. I was pretty late bloomer with travel as well. I didn't get there until 2013, I think it was. Went to Thailand for a friend's wedding. That was my first time overseas. I never really wanted to go to Thailand because I felt like it's the cliche thing that all the Australians do, and it would just be like a tourist trap.
Right.
But no, it was exactly the amount of culture shock that I was hoping for from traveling. Just seeing how other people live, and a real eye opener. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. The only thing I regretted was I didn't get to go to. Have you ever seen that movie, The Beach?
I know the one. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
It's an amazing movie. I loved it growing up as a kid, and that beach, which is like in the movie, is this amazing, perfect beach that only a few backpackers know about and stuff. And they start this little tribe there. You can actually go to that beach, but
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of also didn't want to contribute to turning it into a real tourist trap,
Right. Were there a lot of people there, or?
Where I was in Phuket, so there were tourists there, but it was interesting how even with a lot of other tourists there, it was just still such a culture shock. It was so different from anything, because I'd never been overseas ever. And then 2016, I made it to Austria and Hungary.
Right.
And Hungary was not quite where it was going to end up yet. But Austria, I stayed there, but I stayed with friends there, and in Phuket, I'd stayed in a nice hotel and stuff. So didn't have to experience all that, but I used to get to Melbourne quite a bit, and I would stay in backpackers there, and only lasted, I think twice. I managed to do that before I was like, never again. Never again.
At the beach itself, from the beach, were there many tourists there, or was it just?
I didn't go. That's what I'm saying. That's my one regret was I didn't go there. But yeah, part of me really wanted to because I loved that movie growing up so much. But then the other part of me was like, no, it's their island.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not familiar with the beach itself. I remember the movie and in particularly the All Saints song from the soundtrack. That's what I remember. But I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of traveling. I mean, I've spent a bit of time in New Zealand. I mean, there was no real culture shock there. It was just everything's pretty straightforward. I felt at home from like the second I landed. So.
Yeah. Well, The Beach was directed by Danny Boyle, who's my favorite director. He did Trainspotting.
Yeah, Trainspotting guy, yeah.
Yeah, and the 28 franchise, 28 Days Later. He did Slumdog Millionaire. He did that. Did you ever see that film Yesterday, where the guy wakes up in the parallel universe where the Beatles never existed, but he knows all their songs and gets famous?
I haven't seen that, but I would like to see that because it's kind of a little movie. It's like it's the kind of idea I like, the kind of quirky, magical, Charlie Kaufman-esque idea. I'd be interested in seeing.
Cool. Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, I think he's just a visually striking director and has these very original ideas, and like there's such a bizarre back catalogue of work across a bunch of different genres of film. But yeah, anyway, we're getting off track.
That's all right. Travel. What it's all about.
So our guest today is Agnes Abelsen, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who runs an organisation, and I'll let them explain it more correctly, but that helps young neurodivergent adults with travel and like the benefits that can come through travel in their lives, and learning how to travel better. I think I'd better let her explain the rest. So we will bring her in very shortly. She's not in the lobby, so give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
So first spoke to her a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now on my old podcast, and things were sort of I wouldn't say just getting started, but they were relatively new. I thought, wow, what is that about? How could travel help young neurodivergent people? Had I traveled at that point? Yeah, I had a little bit, but it was really just an interesting topic. And then as we got into the conversation, I was just like, there's so many life skills that neurodivergent kids can learn through that. So she will run us through that now, I believe.
Yeah, interesting. I'm keen. Because I mean, I've done a little limited amounts of traveling. Stayed on my sister's couch in LA, but I I don't. I've never done like a tour or anything, like a Kentucky tour or anything like that. So.
Okay, let's bring her in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Agnes.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
We were just giving you a little intro about. Am I correct that Travengers was relatively recently started when we first spoke a few years ago?
Well, it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, midway, I guess.
Midway. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope your week's going well. We tend to have a list of questions that we'll run through with our guests, but they're just a guide. So we're just going to have a conversation and see where things lead.
Yeah.
But I guess the first question would be, what flavor of neurodivergent would you subscribe to?
Subscribe to. Well, I'm diagnosed ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more I learn about ADHD, the more it resonates.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Not uncommon.
I remember I just gotten diagnosed, and then I went for a beer with a friend who's ADHD, and I was just so relieved to finally, have my answers. And then she was straight away like, "Sure, you're not ADHD."
Yeah. It's like, oh no, I've just got this one answer, and now there's more to unpack here.
Yeah. I think when we first spoke, I think I had just been diagnosed with autism, and it wasn't until a little later that that same professional came back to me and said, "But there's more."
Oh, thank you,
And
Max.
yeah, so I was the other way around. But I was very. It's interesting because I'd been doing the podcast for a while, and I still somehow, even speaking to people with ADHD, just in my brain had this sort of stereotypical view of what that was. So I was like, oh no, there's no way that's the case. I'm too much of an introvert. But I'm one of those people with the internal ADHD where it's all happening up here and not so much outwardly. I don't know if you're similar.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed. I got diagnosed with autism after being peer reviewed, so
Okay.
I got officially diagnosed after being peer reviewed by peers. No ADHD.
No, okay.
That's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I guess could we go a little back into that? So obviously you started Travengers to help young neurodivergent people. How did that play a role? I assume it would have in leading to your realization that you were in need of a diagnosis.
I guess with the whole, I don't know how much I've researched about autism and ADHD, and I follow so much like these Facebook groups and all these, and I see people's experiences, but it never occurred to me that I was a part of that. But then, I guess because of following all that, there was something that came up that explained all the actual ADHD like symptoms or criteria. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah. And was it a difficult process, the diagnosis process?
Yeah, I mean, from I realized, it took 2 years before I went and checked, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's complicated and expensive in this country, unfortunately.
yeah, and I think it was a bit scary at the time too, in a way. But I think you get used to the thought too.
We were talking a couple of episodes too about that fear around the process, especially when you're in the middle of the process and you're waiting for the results to come back, and you're like, oh no, what if it's not true?
Yeah.
I just have other. I think Danny said, what if it's caused by 25 other different problems?
What if it's 20? What if it really is 25 other different problems? Yeah, but there is that fear. But at the same time, I was like, whatever the case, things are going to be different now. I was wondering if you could run through a bit of a history of Travengers for people like me who are unfamiliar with the business, starting, I guess, with the genesis of the business and where it all began.
Yeah, I grew up in Norway on a bit of a remote island. Yeah, my sister, she was quite different to the other kids. We didn't know much about autism at the time. Yeah, I ended up studying to become a disability nurse, and I'd seen my sister's challenges in school, and I just hated how it was like for her. And when I was studying, she got her autism diagnosis, and that was a bit of a explanation. And I became very passionate about making it better for other young people like her.
Yeah.
And then I started traveling, and I came to Australia, and here I saw the same thing. So many young people being isolated, going through the same things and same challenges by themselves, but really a lot of them just wanted to make friends and be independent and do things without mum and dad. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities to do that in a safe environment, I guess.
And travel just seemed like the natural way to accommodate that and build those skills.
Yeah, and also one person I worked with, he really wanted to travel, but he didn't. He couldn't do it by himself, and also he didn't have any friends at all. And so instead of me traveling with him, I instead wanted to bring people together so that they can make their own friends and get that experience, and hopefully also be a stepping stone to future independent living and friendships.
Cool. And so I guess what does a typical trip look like? How does it build those skills for people? How does it accommodate, I guess, neurodivergent people? And I was curious about age groups too. What's the average age group?
The Travengers, it's between 15 and 35 is kind of like the age range. We just opened a 15 to 18s group so that they're like separate. But yeah, we do have some that are up to 38 as well. So yeah, mainly 18 to 35 plus a little.
And the average trip?
The what, sorry?
The average trip, how does it look? Is there an itinerary or a standard itinerary, or how do you vary the trips?
We try to have lots of different things because people have different interests and also confidence levels are very different. So some people might struggle to even just kind of getting to a social event, and for some people they just want to go straight overseas. And so we have some short trips, so that might be like a weekend away, close by, and some that are like 2 weeks to Europe or to New York or different things.
Do you have a most common age range that you get? Like, do you get a lot of people in their early 20s who might be traveling for the first time?
Yeah. I would say that's it is the biggest group, so between maybe 20 and 25. There are some that are, just turn 18 as well, and some that are like 27, but they may not have travelled by themselves before. But a lot of them are kind of like, that age where other people go to Kontiki tours or...
Yeah.
And how do you prepare them for this? Because especially if they've never traveled before.
Yes, we obviously have our itinerary beforehand, and then we send them all information we need to know. We have like a general social story for what to expect on a trip, and then we also do a pre-trip Zoom call where we go through the itinerary together and look at the map, where we're going, where we're staying, what we do on day 1, day 2, etc., and also where everybody can meet each other, because the social component can also be quite for when you don't know who's going to be there. Yeah.
And do any of them ever, is it common that some of them would know each other, or does it tend to be a group of young, brave, neurodivergent people braving a group of people they don't know at all?
They've met before. We've had social events on trips, but a lot of the time there's also new people in a group. So a bit of combo.
Is it round the country as well, or?
Yeah, it's also in Australia. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Just so people wherever they are in Australia, they can Zoom call with you and. To join the pre-trip thing, and then some people, if they live in a city where we don't have support guides, for example, then we typically organise for them to join. We might organise meet and assist with the airline, for example, so that they are supported through that journey, and then we have someone meeting them at the other end, so they don't have to navigate the airport by themselves.
So we will get to obviously the positives and benefits, but I imagine there's some things that need to be managed on trips like this. And I mean, you've met one neurodivergent person, so there could be a wide variety of different things you may need to accommodate. So things like sensory overwhelm, executive functioning, navigating unfamiliar environments, and their differences just within those particular symptoms, and they might experience those things differently. How do you help them manage those things on the trips?
So we have support guides that are there during the trip and can assist with navigating both emotional and practical stuff. So if someone's feeling overwhelmed, they can kind of help them, find a quieter space or take a time out or help regulate. And we also do kind of an intake process. So they might have already told us about how they like to, or what strategies they have themselves if they get overwhelmed and things like that, so that the support guides can support them in the way that works for them. And also to understand, the things that they enjoy or things that they dislike or can be triggering and things like that.
I imagine they'd be with their fellow travellers would be pretty understanding to a degree as well. Experience similar issues.
Yeah, and it can end up being a really supportive experience as well, and a supportive environment, because the others are also there to support if someone's feeling really overwhelmed or even having a meltdown or something.
What are some of the most popular destinations you go on?
Well, actually, the most overstimulating ones are typically the, which is quite funny. Yeah, because you think it wouldn't be, but it's often things that involve, theme parks or like Japan is a big one.
Oh yeah.
We just had a big trip there where they went to.
Japan can be like one big theme park sometimes.
Yeah, kind of a
So many
sensory
things,
sensory seeking thing. I imagine lots of sensory experiences to seek out.
Yeah, and very exciting, and obviously a lot of people have interests that you can find there as well, and so but it also comes with that, I guess, the trade-off, and then as well, like, it can be really overstimulating, but then it's also very helpful to have that support there to help navigate it. So if they were by themselves there, if they got lost or struggled with public transport, for example, it could have been an even more overwhelming experience.
Yeah. When new people approach you, do they usually have a destination in mind that they want to go to, or is it that do they sometimes say, "Look, I just want to travel. Where can you fit me in with people I'd get along with?" Do you have any recommendations?
Sometimes people just kind of see what's coming up, what is available, but in the questionnaire that we send beforehand, they also put in wishes and places they would like to go. So try to also create new trips based on that as well.
So can they sort of, I guess, register without having an idea of what they want to do yet, but just register as a pool of people who might come out on a trip? Yeah.
They don't have to go straight into book, but a lot of them also go to social events as well.
Oh, yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have social events, most weekends, but we have some in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. And then, that can be anything from like a hike or going to a VR game room or karaoke or animal parks. We try to have lots of things for different interests again, and it's a more low-key way of connecting and accessing friendships and also getting out and about.
I imagine you get a lot of regulars to those too, and that's how they make friends.
Yeah.
And do a lot of the people who end up making friends at those events end up on trips together?
A lot of them do. Not everybody. Not everybody wants to travel. Some people are happy going to events, and that's obviously fine. But sometimes or often, people have kind of, I guess, extended their friendship journey to go on a trip as well. Or which becomes a safe thing as well.
I love several of the activities you mentioned, like hiking, karaoke. I mean, those are my kinds of activities. They're my sort of things.
Danny is an excellent singer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, maybe I'll give a demonstration on the podcast sometime. Although it's not too hard.
Duet.
Not too hard to find examples online.
Yeah. So have you ever seen anyone, I guess, start with the social groups, who may indicate that they're not interested in travel, who might sort of, I don't know, progress socially through those social events and end up developing an interest in the travel?
Yeah. Yeah, we've even had people who didn't want to be social at all, just
Yeah.
like hated the thought of it. But then, yeah, came to social events and now gone traveling and yeah, have friends from the groups and yeah, which is obviously great to see because the place they were at beforehand wasn't that great for them. So yeah, we try to have that as so some people might start small and then they build up and then hopefully they don't need us as much anymore and they can do their own thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's journey is different as well. So
How long are the trips abroad? Do you have some short ones and longer ones?
yeah, we've had, for example, Fiji for 5 days, or New Zealand for 5-6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the longest ones have been 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, cool.
Cool.
And so I guess what are the benefits, would you say? What are the skills that neurodivergent people can learn through travel who haven't done it before? What do you see? How do you see them bloom when you take them on trips?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, neurodivergent or not, I think everybody can learn a lot from traveling. It just opens up the world and often mindset as well and understanding different cultures and people. So, and also handling challenges on the way because often trips don't go to plan, whether you're traveling alone or in a group. Like there's often unexpected things that happen and you have to navigate it on the spot. And that's one thing. And another thing is, once you've gone through that journey, for example, overseas and had those challenges, and then when you come home, the things back home isn't so challenging anymore because you've handled those things overseas.
Yeah, so it's a personal growth type thing in some ways.
Yeah, and then there's other things like if you're in a group, obviously, then the social skills and understanding other people and accepting other people in a group and navigating maybe sometimes even conflict if that arises and navigating public transport and going through the airport and all those kind of things and meals and budgeting and safety and all those kind of stuff that comes with traveling.
Yeah. You go.
I was just going to say quickly, growing up a young autistic person, it wasn't until I really got outside my comfort zone that some of the things that seemed like large, distressing issues for me sort of got put in a different perspective. Until I went off and pissed off to Melbourne to live with no money and not knowing anyone down there, had to fend for myself. I came back with a very different perspective on certain things that used to be very distressing for me. So I can imagine travel, although in a much more controlled environment, I wouldn't recommend what I did. I can see how that would be beneficial. You get sort of a bigger sense of the world, and because you can be extra insular, especially as an autistic kid. And extra introverted, and tiny inconveniences can blow out of proportion a little bit. Not to trivialize, what is distressing to young neurodivergent people, but I did find for me that really helped me with things that stopped struggling so much with things that I suddenly realized weren't as big a problem as I may have thought they were.
Yeah, I mean, in my limited experience traveling abroad, I found things are familiar but different in sometimes challenging ways. So it's like, okay, I'm catching public transport like I would back home, but I have to go to different places and navigate it in a different way. And sometimes it can feel a bit stressful or overwhelming, like, when I'm so used to being on autopilot with my regular routines. Is that something that you accommodate for in the trips?
Do you mean the unexpectedness of it, or?
Yeah, or I guess I would add to that. Is there any way that you kind of help them feel a little bit of routine within it, or are you looking to push them outside of that?
I mean, we have our itinerary and plan for the day, and I guess being familiar with the plan can help. But every trip is different. So yeah, it's hard to create a similar routine because everybody also will have different routines in a group. So if you're traveling by yourself, then you could, of course, create that comfort, I guess, in your own itinerary, if that's helpful.
Do you ever find people are surprised that your business exists? Because I imagine a lot of people have this sort of stereotypical view of young insular autistic or ADHD kids that, you know, having that desire to sort of take this leap and go overseas is just something they wouldn't have, but or wanting to take a chance or get outside their routine. That, you know, everyone just thinks that they just want to do the same things all day every day. Do you ever get that from people?
I think people don't really say it, but people are often like, wow, like I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And maybe because they have a view that autistic people might not want that. But what is interesting is, as part of that intake thing I said earlier, like people also put in their interests, and out of all of our profiles and all of the people who's joined us, the top interest is traveling and destinations. And so I think that's a massive myth. Of course, they might be attracted to come to us because they are interested, but also a lot of them come also just for the social events. So
I know for myself, when I was 19 or 20 when I went to Melbourne, and I'd been interstate as a little kid with my mum and stuff, but never, on my own. It was just this, I felt the need to break free of this sort of negative routine. I don't know, I sort of saw it in myself that it was not helping me at all. So I reacted a little extremely and jumped on a bus with $100 in my pocket. But, I think it's a lot more common in young neurodivergent kids who get a bit frustrated with life to want to go out and experience new things and learn new things, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important that we move forward in the tourism industry as well, and try to look at how it can be better and more accommodating for neurodivergent people, because currently it's been very little focus on that, but there's so many neurodivergent people in this world.
Yeah.
That's actually something I wanted to follow up on, because I remember our last conversation, you said that you were starting to have some destinations and I think it was hotels or places that you were starting to develop relationships with that were being more accommodating. Has that only improved over the last few years?
A little bit, but there's a lot more going on still in that area, for example, in the US than it is here. It's a little bit more coming, but it's been a bit slow. But
In Australia?
Yeah. Australia and Asia Pacific in general, I would say. But yeah, definitely working on that at the moment as well.
Yeah. Would you have any, I guess, tips for others in the broader tourism industry on how they can make travel a bit easier for neurodivergent people? I mean, I think airports are a bit of a nightmare for even for most people probably. They can be overwhelming for for anyone, I think, at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Airports are actually progressing in Australia, so that's good. But a lot of people don't know about the resources that are there. So a lot of the airports have sensory maps, and some of them have walkthroughs. Some of them have now sensory rooms. So Sydney just got a sensory room, and Adelaide did as well. So there are things happening in the space, which is great. Generally, in tourism, I think just for the industry to understand how many people are neurodivergent, and that it is important, because it's often seen as such a niche that it's just like pushed aside. But yeah, accommodating neurodivergent people is more like in a lot of the cases, it's a lot about the attitude rather than. Yeah.
I was about to say, because it can be such a broad range of requirements, and it's hard to accommodate all of them or be pre-prepared for them. It's mostly about listening and understanding and a lot of, I guess, I don't know, people like security at an airport would be pre-programmed with responses to certain behaviors and maybe not understand that a person might be behaving that way for a different reason than they would normally see it, and then respond in an inappropriate way, to that person. So, yeah, that would be a tough one, I'd imagine, to implement at a place like an airport.
Yeah, I mean, in the airports, the hidden sunflower lanyard is very helpful in that regard.
Yeah.
Seen those.
Yeah, so wearing that, it's meant to signal to, the staff and, at the airport that they may need some more time and understanding. And it doesn't always work 100% everywhere, but it's, people say that it helps a lot, so it's good.
I actually, since we last spoke, I've had spinal surgery. Actually, I was nearly paraplegic, and I had a long recovery period. But I had concert tickets bought, and I was like, I'm going to these concerts. Just a few weeks after surgery. But point being, I was in a lot of the disability areas at these concerts. Big venues, some of them, and there was all the kids around with their what was it, sunflower? Is it? Yeah, their sunflower lanyards and bracelets and. I found that those areas in those concerts to be the best place to be. I miss them now that I'm up and walking again. But I gotta give props to like Fortitude Music Hall in the city, Entertainment Centre as well, the Tivoli. They were all really, really great to these kids. It was really beautiful to see. So.
Reminds me, actually, I went to Ability Fest a couple of years ago when it was in Brisbane, and I don't think it was in Brisbane this year, but they had a lot of accessibility measures, like they had mats rolled across the grass for people in wheelchairs, and they had like seating areas where they had a bit like decent views of the stage and like Auslan translators and stuff, and it was actually had the best vibe of any and the most relaxed vibe of any music festival I've been to. And it's like making it more accessible for people with disabilities. I think it just makes it friendlier and more pleasant for everyone, really, at the end of the day.
And I think the staff were talking about the airport thing. That's potentially what I mean by listening and understanding, because the staff didn't come up to us and offer us any solutions. They came up to us and said, "What do you need?" And we told them, and they took us seriously. And they took these kids seriously, and they helped accommodate them. And you could tell they were trained in how to be aware of certain needs. But if they didn't understand, they just ask, and they were very, very accommodating. So I guess it's a broad range of potential requirements, but all it requires is some understanding and some listening.
Yeah, and then when that happens, you feel like you belong there, and you're accepted as you are. You don't have to kind of fight them more.
Yeah. I feel like acceptance would be a big part of it, because the one time I stayed in a hostel, I was like, okay, well, I don't know who I'm bunkering down with in here, and it was like, it was like masking big time, but not knowing what I was supposed to mask. I mean, I'm like, should I pretend, I like to party hard? Is that the way things are done in this particular dorm?
See, that kind of masking got me in trouble when I was young.
Yeah. A lot of drinking.
Cool. So I guess. Is that the only? I mean, what sort of tips would you give? Would it just be that to maybe just people out there listening who might have a family member or a loved one or a child or someone a neurodivergent person in their life who hasn't been overseas? Would that be the main bit of advice that you give them? Just to be attentive and listen, or any sort of particular lessons you've learned along the way that you'd give to anyone?
I think it really depends on the person or the child, and for example, some kids might find it much more overwhelming than an adult, because an adult may have also gone through so many things in life that they kind of learned how to navigate various things. Obviously, again, it depends on the person. For some people, having super clear structure and plan in detail and social story and a risk management as well. So even creating like a risk plan or risk mitigation can be helpful, not just with kids, but also for adults. So having thought about already, okay, if this happens, what do I do? If this happens, what do I do? But then also understanding that travel can come with unexpected scenarios and just being prepared for that emotionally so it doesn't come as a surprise if something doesn't go 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so can I just get you to clarify a little on what you mean by social story?
Yeah, so a social story is a very simple overview of what to expect. So it might be one simple image, for example, packing a suitcase. The line might say, we will pack our suitcase because we need to bring clothes for our trip. And then we get to the airport, and the airport might be a little bit loud, but we can put on headphones to feel more safe. So it's kind of like a plan and an explanation to why you're doing things as well, and also what to expect. So it can be a good tool.
Awesome. Okay, it's the first time I've heard that term. That's very good.
Yeah, me too.
So I guess I want to be careful how I word this. What is a good candidate for a trip? Is there such a thing? What would you consider when you're looking at someone to take on a trip?
Typically, the people who join us, they might feel like they fall in between mainstream and other disability groups. They may not feel like they have a place anywhere else. They may be, quite independent, but still need a bit of support. And obviously in that age range. And we do kind of also try to see that it's safe for them and for others for them to go, so that nothing dangerous happens.
Yeah.
And do you have mixes of like people with different ranges of needs on trips, or do you sort of group different types together?
Typically, it's a similar range.
Similar support needs.
And that helps with social cohesion and whatnot.
Yeah, and it works well for everyone, typically, when that's the case. And they might, also make more friends that way. But, we've had a couple of different trips as well where we've kind of been like, okay, maybe this group will be good for you, maybe this group will be good. But we also can't know 100% how we're going to get on.
Yeah. Are most people on the trip like autistic or have ADHD, or do you have other like people with other disabilities and neurodivergences?
Most common is autism, ADHD, often combined, and a lot of people also have anxiety and depression on top of that, or next to that, or whatever you say it, and some have a mild intellectual disability as well. But that's typically who go.
I feel like my sister would fall in that in-between category you were mentioning. She tends to be higher functioning than a lot of the people in the groups that she's a part of through the NDIS, but a little lower than just to be able to go out with a neurotypical group of people and do social things. So.
Yeah, so it really is a really wide variety of support needs that you accommodate for.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't just have one
Yeah.
one thing either. It often comes, with multiple things, and some things have built up over time as well.
And so how do you make sure people get along? Do you have like rules to avoid clashes, management techniques for that kind of thing? How does that work?
Well, people are generally very kind and supportive. We do, have a little social rule that we add, and just being respectful to each other's differences, and be supportive and kind to the others there, and yeah, if something went really bad, then they might have had to go home. And when I say bad, I mean if something was, to be a danger for someone in the group, for example, that would have had to do that. But yeah, people are really kind and supportive.
Shock horror, neurodivergent people can be kind and supportive.
No.
And I guess your personal diagnosis has happened since we last spoke. It's been beautiful to watch online your journey with that. But has that changed your perspective on how you approach the business since that happened?
Well, I definitely can relate to it more now in a way. Like, I understand the things that I've, I guess, just internalized and struggled with, that I guess, I didn't realize that not everybody struggled with that.
Yeah. Do you think that sort of made you feel intuitively how to run this business well for people who might struggle a bit?
Oh, probably. I think also, it probably also been part of why I ended up as a disability nurse, and loved working with people and understanding their challenges intuitively.
I have such empathy with you. We've got a real connection. Yeah.
But and then I obviously started that Divergence travel for late diagnosed women as well.
Oh, yeah, cool.
It's the same as me.
And what about if you don't mind me asking, the running of the business? Have you sort of adjusted that a little to be a bit? I know for myself, when I started my business 10 years ago, I had to really learn not to work 24/7 and just work myself into the ground and burn myself out constantly. Has any of that side of things changed for you? Just business management?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit kinder to yourself?
Sorry?
Being a bit kinder to yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, showing a bit more grace, as they say. Because I started right before COVID, and during COVID it was just non-stop. I was just working. Like, my health started declining. It's just, not good. And that has gone in waves a little bit, I guess, but then I've tried to kind of figure out what works for me, what doesn't worked with my strengths, and try to force myself to take breaks.
And has that been a challenge to scale? Because I mean, you've really only been on the up since since then. Am I right? You won a tourism award?
Yeah, I won. Yeah, tourism award, and a couple of
And what
things.
was that for?
Oh, it was a national tourism award in small champion business or something. But it was a bit cool because it wasn't accessible tourism. It was just tourism.
Yeah.
So getting a bit of a voice in that area, that was cool.
Yeah. Did that change things for the business after that? Like, was it good for publicity, or did you get more clients from it? More people interested?
It's a bit hard to tell really where people come from sometimes, probably. I think it can help with things like trust and that as well. That someone else has recognized the business for doing good things as well. Sometimes these things are just bit of a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah. I got us off track a little there, but with regards to the scalability, do you find you have to adjust the way you treat yourself and manage yourself as the business grows? Has it grown as much as it would seem, or is it still sort of just the core team?
We're still, like a small team. We've gone our team size, I guess, have gone up and down. Also from learning a lot about business on the way, and what the business needs and things like that. For me personally, I think working too much and too hard has actually been a really bad thing.
Yeah.
It's much better when it's balanced and you don't work yourself to the ground. And I very recently started on meds, and that's just helping me so much.
Cool. I just had TMS therapy. Our last episode was about that, the transcranial magnetic stimulation. Magic. Absolute magic. Yeah.
Yep.
Long-term treatment-resistant depression gone.
You have to tell me about that sometime, or I can listen to your thing.
Yeah.
It is a good episode. Yeah. Another thing that I was completely unfamiliar with, and I got schooled that episode. Well, not like I got schooled. I mean, I got educated.
Yeah.
I'm always getting schooled.
So how is all of this, because we've talked a lot about how you've managed to bring positive things to other people's lives. What are the positive things this has brought to your life?
Oh. I just obviously hearing the stories from people and seeing people being happy and photos coming in and then hearing the feedback after, I just get so happy. But I feel like I've found my purpose in life, and that doesn't stop here. There's so much more I have to do.
Wow.
And I'm excited about that. But it's obviously, I think when it's like any other special interest, I guess. Like if you're really interested and hyper-focused on something, you can take over a bit. But I don't mind it. I love it.
Sounds like an amazing feeling. Do you have any goals or directions for the business that you can share right now, or is it all under wraps?
Well, we are working on something that I haven't published yet, you could say. My overall goal is it's not very specific. I just want to make travel and the world more accessible and inclusive to neurodivergent people, and there's a lot to do in that space to make that happen. So
I think more people need to travel, full stop, let alone neurodivergent people. But it's funny. You're the second professional we've spoken to on the podcast, and we're only 6 episodes in case you didn't know.
Sorry, say that again.
We're only 6 episodes in case you didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Including this one. But
by the way.
yeah. But Dan, the person who owns the TMS clinic that I went to, said a similar thing to you. We asked him what positives has it brought to your life, and he was the same. And I've had this, on the previous podcast as well, talking to people in business. They all kind of say the thing it's brought to their lives is what it's brought to other people's lives, which is I find really beautiful. It's like, I think helping others is one of the more fulfilling things you can do in life, rather than just I have a much nicer house and a Porsche or whatever. I think it's real fulfillment. I love it.
Yeah, it is. I hate being asked all the questions. I just want to ask you guys questions.
Go for it. Well, we're getting to the end of our questions, and we've got some time left, so feel free.
Yeah.
What is your purpose, if you have it or know it?
In general, or with the podcast?
Both.
I think with the podcast, so like I said, I had my spinal surgery. I also left. I had a band that was, touring all over the country, doing quite well, making money. That I left, but just because for mental health reasons I had to. It was, I think we did a 22 show tour of over 2.5 months, just non-stop, and it, didn't go well with my brain. So that sucked, and that was a big blow. And then I had to move from the city, which was a big blow. And then my business faltered quite a bit. That was a big blow. And then, I found out I needed spinal surgery. I was very close to like one fall away from being a paraplegic, which was, so it's been a really tough couple of years. But and I didn't think I wanted another podcast after the last one, but I over the time I realized I really just value these conversations, and I just wanted to have but I really valued the more human elements of that. And so, and I just think we call it the neurodivergent normal because we really want to normalize conversation, just casual conversation between neurodivergent people, because we're everywhere and we want other people to see that. And I do miss, with your one, and I've had a little bit with this one already. People coming up to me, at the bar or whatever, and just saying, "Oh, I saw that episode. It really helped me. It made me look into stuff." I know, I have 3 friends looking into TMS therapy now, after the last episode. So yeah, I don't know. I just it's that connection for me. That's all.
And that's been probably the most validating, one of the most validating parts for me as well. I mean, it's all validating. It's been fun as well. But this is my first podcast. Although I was a 4ZZZ announcer at one stage. I did a show on 4ZZZ FM, and one of the things that I miss about that is actually interviewing people. Like, that was the highlight of the show for me. I'd have a writer or a musician or somebody in another field, and I'd ask them questions like this, and really I'd sort of pride myself on asking things I wanted to know that I was hoping nobody else was asking. And that was the main thing I missed about it. So doing this show has been a chance to recapture some of that feeling for me. Because I do have a journalism background. I did a journalism degree back in the day. I'm not sure that you would know it, but I couldn't get a job out of it. But I ended up doing a 4ZZZ show, and it made me passionate about interviewing people.
Yeah, I think the connection though is it's not just for me. It's it's the same thing Dan talked about. It's the same thing you've spoken about. I want to help people. I just think it's very fulfilling, and not even fulfilling like in a personal way. I just want to help people, and I want people to feel that it's okay to speak about all of this stuff. That's why we're on this podcast. We're sort of going through a different range of types of characters that we interview. So professionals, but also like we're going to do a little series on tradies who are neurodivergent, and painters and authors, and we've already done musicians and parents and venue owners, and so. Yeah, just all different walks of life, and just that connection. Because, God, I remember growing up without all of this content, that I could connect to help me feel okay, and how okay I didn't feel. So yeah, I just wanted to do my bit to contribute a voice into that, and hopefully help some kid somewhere who needs to hear what we had to say tonight or tomorrow, or
Growing up, I mean, that's a whole other discussion. I mean, I sometimes think, growing up, I wish there'd been the knowledge there. I wish I'd seen that episode of the Heartbreak High reboot with Quinny in it, and maybe that would have given me a clue or made me feel less alone or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a representation, and seeing that other people,
It really does matter.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's why. Sorry. No, I was just, when I got diagnosed, just made a conscious decision to, be open and talking about it, because I was a bit worried that, would someone not take me seriously as a business owner, or be worried that, I would be worried that I couldn't do my job or something, but having been so open about it, so many people have come up to me as well and shared, and almost seemed a bit ashamed of it, but it kind of gives people a safe space to share it, I guess, and then it becomes more normal.
exactly. I mean, it's easy. We live in a world where it's easy to grow up ashamed of it, and we shouldn't. So I think that's really good. But also, just the level of progress we've made happened because of conversations. I mean, when I was in primary school, almost, almost don't want to say this out loud, but in the 80s, autism wasn't a thing. It was barely a thing. There was no specialist in the school wondering why I couldn't make friends with any of the other kids, or we just had no social skills, and or trying something like, I don't know, music, which is what eventually got me out into the public and developing social skills. And I did go through and I think a lot of people do this grieving process once I got diagnosed. Oh my God, how much better could things have been had this been early intervention? But there was no early intervention back then. So like I said, we got here because people had conversations like this one, and I want us to do our little part to push that forward.
Yeah, I had that grieving process at the same time as, I've never been more passionate about living my life authentically now. Hello world, this is me.
Ready.
Did you have any of that?
I love it. I think my process has been a lot more slow.
Yeah.
It's still like it's like, okay, so who am I then?
There was a bit of that too.
Yeah, and it's still like a safety thing, I think, as well. So yeah, I'd still like to unravel a bit more of that as well.
There's a lot to unpack.
And it becomes
people like you.
Oh, awesome. It becomes easier with time, but you have to learn to be a little uncomfortable with making some other people uncomfortable. But the more you are yourself, the happier you'll be, But it does take time to unravel it a bit.
Yeah. And again, trying to give myself grace.
Yes, give yourself grace, be kind to yourself. That was a huge one for me, because just that constant negative reinforcement as a kid, like them saying to me, why can't you do this? Me saying to me, why can't I do this? And having to learn to unravel all of that was really, really difficult, and just understand that it's okay that I have some limitations or differences. There's nothing wrong with that. And the guilt factor, letting go of that was hard.
Yeah. Teachers at school, why can't you do this? Jerry can do this.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling a random name. There wasn't necessarily a Jerry at my primary school.
Yeah. Well, Jerry isn't arranging his M&Ms in colour order,
Exactly.
Now leave me alone while I do that. I think, I don't know, it's so beautiful to see that this is becoming more accepted and the conversation is being had and the progress we've made. But it definitely takes time to unravel, and I definitely did have that grieving process for a little while. But God, I wouldn't undo it for the world. I'm happier than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
personally, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that is us for the hour. I would love to have another conversation one day, Agnes, if you're up for it. I think there's a little more we can dig into there and just have more of a conversation without the guidelines. But in the meantime, how about you let everybody know where they can connect with Travengers online?
So either at our website, which would be www. Oh my god, now I sound like a radio person too. Travengers.com.au. And you can also find me on LinkedIn with my name, Agnes Abelsen, or find Divergence for the women as well.
What was the second business? I wasn't as aware of that one.
Oh, it's a similar thing, but for late diagnosed women, so millennial to Gen X, essentially.
What's that one called?
Oh, Divergence Travel.
Divergence Travel. Okay, great.
Yeah.
We could do a whole follow-up episode about that.
Yeah, I think we should. Well, when you're back in Australia and got everything all happening again. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And you did come on to replace another guest, so we really appreciate you making the time at late notice. I hope we do get to have another conversation. Thanks everyone out there. Please, I've not said this on any podcast yet, so I'm trying to remember it now. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. I don't think anyone's watching live right now, but if they are, we will upload everything to YouTube later tonight or early tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Talk
Thanks
to you later.
everyone. Thanks Agnes. Thanks John.
Please stay on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.